All right, man, peace. So a while ago, I did a video called Be Somebody, Be a Hoe. And the basic sentiment behind that video is that since the woman has full control over her own body, then she should have the right to sell her vagina to whoever she wants to sell it to. In my belief, it would be in the best interest of the men in this society for them to legalize prostitution for a myriad of reasons. I touched on it in that video, and I'm going to go over it again because they had a very good segment about online sex trafficking. So, of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers is backing an effort to close what it sees is a loophole that supports online market for sex trafficking. 47 senators, almost half of the Senate, are co-sponsoring a bill. They want to remove legal protections for websites that host prostitution ads.
And the only reason why these senators are trying to introduce this bill is because they're not getting a cut of the money that's being generated from the online promotion of quote unquote prostitution. That's the only reason why they're trying to introduce this bill, which once again is the reason why they should legalize prostitution so that it can be regulated. The reason why you have illegal sex trafficking, especially the sex trafficking of minors, is because it's not being properly regulated.
But some in law enforcement warn the effort could be counterproductive. Anna Warner shows us how the bill is aimed primarily at one site, Backpage.com it's called.
And the reason why the cops are saying that this bill is not going to have an effect is because they know that the number one product that's going to sell, and not just in America, but any country in the world, is going to be pussy. That's the number one product to sell on the planet Earth, is vagina. So the cops already understand that if you shut down one website, or if you try to regulate one website according to a bill, and you're not really regulating the act itself, it's only going to present itself in another form on another website.
It's called. Anna, good morning.
Good morning. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says Backpage is involved in nearly 3/4 of all reports of online child sex trafficking that it receives from the general public.
And I guarantee you this is bullshit. The reason why they're concentrating on that website is because that's most likely the website that's making the most money or generating the most hits in response to their ads. Once again, whenever they're trying to crack down on any form of promotion of sex or the advertising of sex on the internet or in person in real time, it's because they're not getting a proper cut of the money. And I touched on this in the previous video that I did on this series, Be Somebody, Be a Hoe. And the reason why I harp on this is because I think that it would be best for everybody involved if they did legalize prostitution. I think that it would be best for the government because they can make money off of it. It would be best for the men in this society so that they could really understand and see the true nature of the modern day woman in this society and stop looking at them as if we're living 400, 500 years in the past. All right. If you were to truly reveal the nature of most of these liberal women, you'd see how eager most of them would be to become professional whores. And it would allow you to not become so emotionally attached to a lot of these females, which leads to a lot of mental instability amongst most of these men today. And it would also make the real women step their game up and say, well, damn, I can't play pussy games with these dudes like I used to. So I'm going to have to actually have more to offer than just the games that an average whore would play. Because all these women out here are playing whore games. They're all playing vagina games. And if they legalize prostitution and the woman knew that a man could just go to work, have a stress-free life without a woman nagging and trying to play games with his life, just go to the brothel, get his little nut off and go home. A woman who actually wanted to have a real relationship would have to step her game up.
A Senate investigation showed adult ads proved to be big business for Backpage, generating more than 90% of its ad revenue in 2011. Some victims' advocates want the site shut down, but is it that simple?
Well, yeah, it's not that simple because what they really want is a cut of the money. They most likely are trying to figure out exactly how much money Backpage is making and how they can get a cut.
The man leaving this Chicago area hotel room thought he'd be meeting a prostitute. Instead, he and other men found undercover police officers waiting. We've blurred their faces.
In other words, they were set up. They was trying to get some ass and they end up getting locked up. All right, which should be illegal. If the men went online and they saw an ad for some chick 22, 23 years old who was trying to sell them some ass, if they went there to get some ass, they should not be confronted by police. This is why they should legalize prostitution. All right? They want the men in America to subscribe to this dated dynamic of you have to date some female who's already slept with about 25 dudes in her life, 25, 30 dudes, and you're supposed to spend a whole bunch of money on her with the hope that you guys can develop something of substance. That's what they want. And are there women out there that you can develop substantive relationships with? Absolutely. But the average woman out here is a $2 hoe. It's just the fact of the matter. And if they would have legalized prostitution, it would force a lot of the women who are the real women to step their game up. And it would force the women who don't know whether they want to be whores or real women to make a decision. It would help everybody, believe me.
The fine is listed right here at $750.
They'd responded to ads police had posted on the Classifieds website Backpage. Commander Bill Lean heads the Vice unit. When you put an ad like this up, how long does it take before?
Yeah, all this shit is called entrapment. This is they're entrapping these dudes. All right? And they're doing it because, once again, they're trying to socially engineer society to make men believe that the only time that they should want sex is when the woman wants to have sex with them. In other words, the woman should always be the initiator of an interpersonal relationship. If the man initiates it, then it's harassment. That's what they're trying to condition men into believing in this modern day time.
You get responses?
Oh, usually within a minute or two.
A minute?
Get calls, yeah.
Really? And how many calls will you get?
Sometimes we'll get 50 to 100 in a night.
That's despite the fact that Backpage shut down.
Look at this bitch. This bitch like Nicki Minaj. Might be Nicki before she had her first album out. Who the hell knows? Allegedly.
Shut down its adult advertising section earlier this year under pressure from lawmakers. Now, police say they find ads for sex with young girls.
Yes, it says young pretty girl, and then it says 23 years old. All right, that's what it says. But you see how the media works? They're trying to demonize any form of a man cutting straight to the chase and dealing with a so-called prostitute. And look, let me say this. That's not my thing. I prefer dealing with the real thing, but for a lot of these guys out here, that's what they need. Because if you're somebody who gets caught up in an emotional relationship with every female, with the vast majority of these females being whores, then you just need to cut straight to the chase and just deal with a whore directly until you can step your mental game up and not get caught up in bullshit. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut that out. They're trying to stop any form of a man dealing directly with an out-and-out prostitute, because they want the man to be subjected to having to deal with the whims of a woman, of these so-called liberal women out here, and being run through the court system, so on and so forth, because that's more money for them. As I've stated, the reason why they're coming down on this Backpage website is because they're not getting a cut of the revenue. That's all this is about. That's why I said they should legalize prostitution so the government can get their cut, the women can get their cut, they can stop these little girls from getting sucked into bullshit, and these guys can also learn what the difference is between a whore and a real woman. Because most guys don't know, because they're being raised in a society where being a slut and being a whore is extolled. That's why they've invented terms like slut shaming. They want the man to not know the difference between a real woman and a $2 hoe.
In the website's dating section.
We've made over 1,000 arrests off of Backpage.
Yeah, off of entrapment.
1,000.
Tom Dart is Cook County Sheriff. And were you shocked when you first saw what was happening online?
I honestly, even being a former prosecutor, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, former prosecutor. Meaning your job is to make sure that you tax as many citizens as possible. That's the job of a prosecutor, for those of you who don't know. Their job is to make sure that the tax that's being levied on a citizen, quote unquote citizen, i.e. debt slave, is enforced. All right, that's the job of a prosecutor. Now, look at this. It says sweet and petite, 23. All right, the chick is 23 years old. The theme of this feature is allegedly about young girls. They have yet to show a girl that is of the age that you could classify as being quote unquote young, meaning unaware of what she's getting into, 13, 14, 15 years old. That would be the point, in my view, of them legalizing prostitution so that you could regulate it. If people knew that, more often than not, they can go to a prostitute or a brothel and deal with a woman of quote unquote legal age, 18, 19 and up. They'll be far less likely to be caught up in entrapment situations where a female is 14 and lies and says that she's 19 or 20 and end up in a legal situation.
Dart says many of the girls advertised are victims of sex trafficking.
No, many of the girls advertised are victims of being $2 hoes and being idiots. All right, and trying to live the fast life.
This teenager says she was one of them.
I was naive.
No, you was a hoe, and you still a hoe.
The 17-year-old and her mother asked us not to show their faces.
Of course, a woman is always ashamed after she done been a hoe for about 3-4 years, a professional hoe. She's always ashamed. Now, the woman is not ashamed when she's a regular hoe, like these liberal women out here, because they could throw them skeleton bones in the closet. But when you're a professional hoe and you're trying to gain back some legitimacy, then yeah, you're gonna be embarrassed.
But the teen says a pimp seduced her when she was just 14 years old and convinced her to post on Backpage.
There's like hundreds of guys responding to the ad.
To pussy. There's hundreds of guys responding to pussy. You see how they're trying to demonize the guys? That's like if you threw a piece of meat out into the middle of the woods and you came back, wouldn't you expect there to be some bears there if you came back a few hours later? You know why? Because bears are attracted to meat. Men are attracted to meat also, okay? It's called pussy. So if you put it online and you try to broadcast it, why would you be surprised that you have 100 or so guys that are trying to, check the ad out? Particularly nowadays when most of these, our society is so overly sexualized because of the way that they have deculturalized everything. In societies with a real culture, men are not concerned with where they're going to get their next piece of ass from. Because they understand that, they most of the time in real cultures, they have a wife by the time they're in their late teens. They have more than one wife. They have concubines, so on and so forth. So these things are better taken care of in a society with a strong culture, which America doesn't have. Now everything out here is just deli ma, just pop whoever, whenever. And the man is starting to associate women with just being sexual commodities because that is what they project. Most of these women have little else to offer other than a piece of ass. So the liberal movements have relegated the woman to being a basically just a sperm receptacle. And they really only have themselves to thank for that. They can't blame the men because it's the feminist movement that they chose to follow that has relegated them and diminished them to this degree, to where men no longer respect them. Which once again brings me back to my statement that they should just legalize prostitution. For the women who don't want to be considered whores, this is your chance. This is your chance to say, hey, I'm not a hoe, so I'm not going to go off and become a hoe. I want to be a lady and I want to wear long dresses and I want to be respected. For the women who are just outright hoes, then they can go into the brothel industry. For the women who are not sure, they're going to be forced to make a decision. It's going to become much, much clearer for everybody involved if they just legalize prostitution.
Ad.
Hundreds of guys.
Mm-hmm.
She says the pimp told her to book appointments with men, then send him the money.
On a good
Yeah, that's normally what pimps do.
day, I would make like 1,000.
And how many guys on average would that be for a good day?
Like 4.
Well, damn, that's what, $250 a dick? That's a pretty good wage you're making. Well, I shouldn't say that because you say you make 1,000, so you probably sent the pimp $980. You probably got $20 for yourself. Go out, buy a hamburger and a lollipop or some shit, right?
It's kind of
And a pack of condoms.
like you were working as a sex slave.
Yeah.
No. If she was a slave, she wouldn't be getting any money. I just said she probably got $20 out of it. Okay, so she was an employee.
He even branded her with a tattoo.
Royal moneymaker. God damn. That definitely was a branding, like some cattle. Look, let me say this. I don't feel sorry for none of these broads. None of them. Most of them are proud, obstinate, and think they know everything. And those are the ones that are over 30. So when you're dealing with these broads like this one who claim that she's 14 or however old this story is alleging she was, I'm not sure if that's actually her age. Remember, It's very clear when you watch the story that they're trying to promote a narrative, because they've yet to show any ad that purposefully was broadcasting an ad where a girl was 14 or 15 years old. Every ad stated that the girl was 23. So, I mean, could she be actually that age? Yes. But either way, the point being is this: I don't feel sorry for none of these broads. You decided to sell your ass, sell your vagina. You wanted to live the fast life. You knew everything. It is what it is. That's part of the game. All right. That's whether it's girl or boy. The dude didn't break into your bedroom and put some chloroform over your mouth, knock you out, and you wake up, in a hotel room with your hands and your feet tied to the bed, and the dude saying, look, you open for business. That wasn't what happened. You voluntarily decided to sell your ass. So it is what it is.
He later pled guilty to human trafficking and is serving 8 years in prison. And she's now filed a lawsuit accusing Backpage of negligence, among other allegations.
Yeah, so now Backpage has to be sued for negligence because you decided to sell your, and this is normal modern day female behavior. No culpability, no accountability for their bad decisions. And this is why I tell you, brothers, incessantly that the woman is an agent of chaos. And that's another thing, man. In this society, and this is why I always accentuate that the man is behind enemy lines. When you're dealing with these females, you really don't know whether they're whores or whether they're decent women. That's why I just tell brothers to assume that you're dealing with a hoe. All right. And the longer you go in your relationship and she has not shown any hoe traits, then she could build up some equity with you. But when you're dealing with these broads, you have to assume that they're hoes or that they have a hoe tendency or something of that nature, because that's how they're programmed and that's how they're cultivated in this society. And when their wholeness does come out, there's always going to be some form of an excuse. And that is what we see here. How could Backpage be sued for negligence when you are the one who was negligent in the common sense of what the pimp game and the whole game was really about? You're not the victim.
What do you think Backpage.com's role in all of this is, or responsibility is?
All there was a storefront for you to sell your ass. That's all Backpage was. They were a storefront for you to sell your ass.
They're letting all of this happen on their website. I mean, without Backpage, I would have never...
Never what? The bitch can't even get out. You would never what? Been a hoe? You was a hoe already. They just used... Backpage was just used to advertise you being a hoe. The fuck out of here.
Been in any of this in the first place.
How could you say that? Did Backpage send you a letter in the mail and say, look, if we have some openings for hoes on the website. We're going to have one of our pimps call you. Just think about it. No. You got seduced by that pimp, and then next thing you know, you were spread eagle on the website.
The girl's mother.
Backpage has a primary purpose, and it's to sell sex. Backpage has not done anything.
They have not done anything wrong, because all they were doing was providing a service as an intermediary for your daughter, who's a hoe, and you probably a damn hoe too, like mother, like daughter. All right, where the hell she learn all that from? She should be suing you for negligence. You're the one who's negligent. Your daughter was hoeing, fucking at least 4 guys a day for $1,000, of which she was only probably getting $20, and you knew nothing about it. You knew nothing about it. And what your daughter was probably walking through the door, walking like a damn crab, because her legs were so damn spread all day. And you still didn't know shit about it. You talking about Backpage was negligent. No, you were negligent.
To ensure the safety of...
Look at it. These bitches, they can't even get the words out. This is the type of shit that sickens me, man. This is why I say the things that I say about brothers being behind enemy lines, because in real societies, women would be embarrassed to even come on TV and say shit like this. They are embarrassed either way. That's why they got their faces in the dark. But in real societies, a woman would take shit like this to her damn grave. In the ancient world, if a woman was raped or something like that, they killed themselves because they felt like they were dishonored. Now these bros today are running around for kicks, fucking every damn body, and then trying to blame everybody else for their indiscretions. The fuck out of it. They should, not only should their faces be illuminated, they should have a damn 10,000 megawatt light shining in their damn face. Let people see every nook and cranny and crevice of your face, and probably got dried up sperm all over your damn face. That's probably why they got no light on their face, because all the damn sperm is all over it.
The kid's on there. Period.
The company recently settled a similar lawsuit in Washington, but it's also won several legal decisions, in part because of a federal law called the Communications Decency Act. The company has argued in court filings that under the act, websites cannot be held liable for publishing or editing content provided by third-party users.
And they shouldn't be held liable. Why should they be held liable for just acting as an intermediary for another party? If anything, Backpage really should be utilized by law enforcement and other forms of government agencies like the FBI to smoke out people who are looking to have sex with little kids. But in regards to having consensual sex with adult women for money, no, that should not be a crime. Sorry. Every time you brothers meet a chick and you meet her on the train or on the bus or in the restaurant or at the park or in the gym or wherever, you got to pay to get a piece of ass. All right? Whether you take her out for drinks or whatever. But then again, I shouldn't even say that because nowadays these hoes are so damn loose. You get their phone number after about 3 text messages exchanging. She's sending you pictures of a coochie, and next thing you know, by that weekend she riding you. So I mean, shit. Who the hell knows? But Backpage really should be utilized by the government, not castigated. Right? They should be allowed to say, look, you can continue doing your business. Just make sure that you provide some intel on anybody who's trying to sell children on your website. That's what should be cracked down on. But women of legal age who want to sell their ass, we're constantly told that the woman's body belongs to her. Let her sell her ass. Ain't no damn virgins out here. The only virgin out here is olive oil. You go to the grocery store, you see virgin olive oil. That's about it. That's the only virgins out here.
But a Senate report alleges Backpage knowingly concealed evidence of child sex trafficking through its editing by deleting words, phrases, and images indicative of criminality. Senate investigators said words like young, little girl, and innocent were removed.
Look, let me say this. If they truly remove those words, then I can understand there being some suspicion. But as long as the age is presented by the poster of the ad and the age is over legal age, then no, Backpage should not be held liable for that. No. If anything, once again, they can work in concert with law enforcement and continue to do what they've been doing, which is entrapping people. But hoeing should be legalized in America because these women been hoeing for the last 50 years anyway. All right. So just legalize it so that you could take a lot of the onus off of a lot of these simple-minded men to stop getting caught up in these fake ass relationships. And now it will make it easier for them to see who the actual good women are who actually want to have a relationship, as opposed to the whores, the outright whores, which is about 25 to 30% of the women. And then the women who are not sure whether they want to be whores or decent women, which is about 50 to 60% of the women. Then you got about 10 to 15%, maybe 20% of the women who actually want to have a relationship. And that's probably a high number. But the vast majority of women are leaning towards being hoes.
While the remainder of the ad would be published.
Raise your right hand.
And that's the reason why, once again, why they got so upset when Trump stopped corporations for having to pay for their for their pregnancy pills. That's really why they got so upset. Because remember, the pregnancy pill is another way for the woman to try to erase the evidence of how big of a hoe she is.
At a congressional hearing in January, Backpage executives took the fifth.
I decline to answer your question.
The company also declined an on-camera interview, but a representative told us senators are conducting a witch hunt against the site. Backpage says it cooperates with police departments to help find victims. And some police, like Minneapolis Sergeant Grant Snyder, a sex trafficking investigator, agree.
In some cases, we just tell them we've got a victim out there and we need to recover this individual, and they respond very rapidly to that.
Yeah, and that's what they should be used for. That's what they should be used for. Let them do their business. They help you do your business. Everybody gets paid, because that's really all arresting people is about, is making sure that the state government gets paid. All right, that's why you must post bond. All right, a bond is just a promise to pay. They tax you through the legal system and through the penal system. That's it. But when I see stuff like that mother and daughter, the daughter's on Backpage and the mother talking about they were next. No, you just mad because your daughter was on Backpage, and back in the day, your whole ass was probably on front page. Just get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Snyder also agrees with Backpage that if ads aren't on their site, they'll pop up somewhere else.
Absolutely, because pussy is the number one product to sell across the earth. Absolutely.
On sites that may not be as helpful to police.
I think that if we eliminated Backpage today, you would see the same level of commercial exploitation occurring in other venues.
Of course, because there's always going to be a demand for vagina, and most of these women out here want to sell their ass because it makes them feel attractive. Remember, these women are not being taught any real skills. They're not being taught any domestic skills. They're not being taught their value as women. All they're being taught is that their value comes from promoting sex, sexualizing themselves. So by the time these bras are 14, 15 years old, when they reach an age where they start to sexually develop, that's all they're concerned with. So that's pretty much all they're good for. All right. You can't convert whores into good women. It just doesn't happen. I mean, not unless you Christ and you can cast demons off of a bra like Mary Magdalene. OK, you have to deal with these women according to the spirit that they have and how they conduct themselves.
But Sheriff Dart doesn't buy the argument.
Well, I would hope our bar would be a lot higher than that. That your entire logic behind it is like, well, it could be just really, really worse. So just allow this to continue to go on.
Fuck out of here, man. We need to check your laptop. All right. We need to check your laptop. When I see guys like him trying to crack down on any form of quote unquote ads for sex, heterosexual sex, that's a red flag for me. I guarantee that man got some kiddie porn on his laptop. Probably little boys on there, allegedly. Somebody check that motherfucker laptop.
Sheriff Dart pressured
Who this bitch looking like Ronald McDonald?
credit card companies to stop doing business with the site. Backpage is now suing him for that, saying it violated the First Amendment and the Communications Decency Act. A Senate committee last week approved legislation that would revise the Communications Decency Law to specify that it doesn't provide protection for sex trafficking. The bill now heads to the full Senate for consideration.
Look, let me say this quickly. To me, sex trafficking is when they're taking minors or anybody against their will across state lines for the purposes of sex. When people willingly, willfully, and voluntarily sign up to sell their ass, that should be something that they're allowed to do as long as they're of legal age, 18 or above. Okay? This is the game that they're trying to play. All this is really about is trying to demonize men yet again. Oh, look at all these men. I can't believe, even though I went on this website and I bust my coochie open and I wanted to sell my ass, I can't believe all these men, 100 men a day, were trying to get with me. And then after a while, when my pussy got sore and I was tired of getting drilled every day, then all of a sudden I realized that what I was doing was wrong and I was just getting skeeted on and skeeted on and skeeted on. Now all of a sudden I want to act like I'm a good person. So it's all the men's fault and Backpage's fault. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. All right? You and your mother just nothing but a couple of $2 whores. That's it. Well, I shouldn't even say that. You $1,000 hoe because you was making $1,000 a day. So I give you credit. You know, you was a good hoe. You was making money. All right. But at the end of the day, you was probably only taking $20 home for your damn self. You know, enough for cheeseburgers. You know, some chicken McNuggets, a drink. You know, some bubble gum and some condoms. So that's about it. But anyway.
Yeah, sex trafficking, a big problem, a bigger problem than many people realize in this country.
Yes.
Gail, we're not trying to hit none of your bullshit right now. You just mad because nobody want to sex traffic your old ass. Look at Gail looking like a damn slave. Got 2 big ass chains around her neck. Who the fuck dressed Gail this morning? What slave master dressed Gail up in that shit and told her that she looked good with 2 iron chains around her neck?
This is an important.
Very likely to pass.
Well, the internet groups dropped their opposition, which I think was a big hurdle, after they made some changes in the bill. So that would seem to increase the likelihood that it would pass.
Nice to see some bipartisanship, though, in Washington on some.
Yeah, because money talks. See, money brings the 2 parties together. They're not getting a cut from Backpage. That's why they came together on this. They don't give a shit about no damn sex trafficking. Most of those senators are dealing with children, having sex with children. Look at Pizzagate. They don't give a shit about no damn sex trafficking. They're mad because they're not getting a cut from it. Shoot. And that chick there with the leopard print on, she looked like she's probably a damn MK sex kitten that they just threw on TV. And Charlie Rose old ass. Charlie. Oh, I remember the days when we used to just, we would just fly bitches in. It was never a problem.
On some issues.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna.
Today on our...
But anyway, like I told you, brothers, they need to just legalize. They need to legalize prostitution. Of these women's own account, their body belongs to them. They could do with it what they want. I think most of them really want to be hoes anyway. You might as well let them pursue their careers, that of being a hoe. I think that they'll be happier, and I think that it'll be much better for the men, which is the main reason why I'm saying this. I think that men need to understand the true mindset of most of these modern day women. It will make things much, much clearer and easier for them, and it will stop them from getting caught up in these bad situations. Because men are out here marrying whores, getting whores pregnant, and then having mental breakdowns when the shit comes to the surface. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm sure that they're gonna have another story about this, and I'll probably just make this a series. You gotta let a hoe be a hoe, man. Be somebody. Be a hoe. Anyway, peace.